to my channel, Alice Hands Create. This is a channel primarily about my cross stitch hobby and on occasion some crochet thrown in. If you are returning, thank you so much for doing so. If you are new, I hope that you'll enjoy and maybe find some inspiration. So let's get started. Today, all cross stitch. So it's Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving week. Lots been going on in my family. I am indeed a new grandma. We had a beautiful baby granddaughter on Tuesday the 17th, so a week ago today. She's a week old now. Her name is Alaska Rose. She's absolutely beautiful. It's very difficult to not get to be there, you know, to hold her and everything. But we've done some video calls, and Britt is trying to make sure she's sending pictures every single day, and we chat every day. I've had some SOS calls about what do I do? She won't stop crying, or what's the big question? How do you get her into the crib without waking her up when she has fallen asleep on your lap or, you know, on your chest? My mom said, well, tell her if she can figure that one out, write a book and we'll all make a fortune. So that's been kind of amusing, and yet at the same time, as a mom, all you want to do is just, you know, jump in there and help her too. So anyway, that's just been, you know, the highlight of our week. She was a good medium size, I say, 7 pounds, 12.5 ounces, and just a hair over 20 inches long. So Britt's labor was a little different because she is in Italy, and they do things maybe a little bit differently than what, you know, at least what I experienced when I had my kids, and that's been, you know, 30 years ago, 30 years to 22 years ago. So it was an interesting thing to kind of go through that with her. She obviously didn't know what to expect, and you know, I was trying to kind of talk with her, because I did talk with her most of the day while she was in labor until right up to the point where within maybe an hour after our last conversation, the baby was born. So it was just interesting, because they were doing things, you know, somewhat differently than what I was used to. But anyway, very exciting news, and so that's been great. I've celebrated my first Flosstube versary. Is that how you say that? My first anniversary. I started this channel a year ago on the 19th. So I'm very grateful to all of you who have tuned in or who have commented and who have made my channel, I consider to be a great success. I thank you very much. And I've got a nice little, you know, giveaway that I'm gonna be giving away here at the end. So hopefully you'll stick with me here, and we'll move right along. I've got a couple things to show, a couple of projects. I really worked primarily on 3 things. One I finished. One I thought was a finish, and then realized literally last night I had made an error, and I'm gonna have to rip some of it out. I'll show you that in just a second. And one I made, I thought, you know, pretty good progress on. So I will show you those. First, what I thought I made some good progress on that I'll show you was the Contented Mind Sampler. Remember, this one is from the Sampler Company by Brenda Keys. And when I showed this to you last, I had just done a couple of motifs while I was watching football. I had done this one and this one. So since then, I have added in, of course, all the rest. And I have to tell you, I have dug through trying to figure out what linen I'm using. thought I had written out a project card, and if I did, I don't know what I did with it. Because it's definitely not in my project bag. I dug around into my notebook to see if I wrote it down. I have my start date, but I have no idea what I did with the project card. And I think this is a only piece of whatever this linen is that I have. I think it's either from XJU Design or Seraphim, hand dyed by Seraphim Fabrics. I'm not sure, but I think it's Seraphim. So I'm kind of really bummed about it because I love working on this fabric. It really has been a joy to work on, and I want to get more of it, and now I'm not sure where I got it. So I'm gonna have to kind of do some digging. But anyway, made good progress on this one. It is staying out. I am gonna continue to work on it because I've just not really been ready to put it away yet, and I feel like I'm making great progress. So I'm gonna keep it out and keep it in my rotation. The next one, and what I thought I had finished, was my version of A Feast of Friendship. Now I changed the wording to Harvest a Plenty. And what I did was right here, I screwed up. There's a pattern that you repeat where when you come down, you do 3, skip a space, do 3, go back up. And I got to the end, and this part right here, this was not correct. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, that, I don't know. You know, we'll see. So I started going back through to add the little acorns, and this just wasn't counting right. So I got back over and I realized right here, I went ahead and pulled out a little spot so I could know where I'm gonna have to rip to. I came down, did the 3, and then immediately went right back up. I did not do the space 1, then 3 more, and go back up. So fortunately, all I'm gonna have to rip out is this little section and then just redo it. So I'll work on that tonight, and hopefully, or maybe tomorrow, I'm not sure. I'll work on it sometime in this next day or two and see if I can't get that finished, and then I'll have a finish on Feast of Friendship. I actually already have a frame, so I can get it framed, you know, fairly quickly. But you know, Thanksgiving's Thursday. I'm not in an all fired up hurry to have it hang on the wall for, you know, a couple of days. So anyway, so that is Feast of Friendship. And then my last project that I worked on since I talked to you last was Thankful Quaker. If you remember, it was just a little Bent Creek design, and I did finish it, and I FFO'd it. And I just think it turned out really nice. Really like it. I just made it into a quick little pillow, added some chenille, you know, trim. And so there's my finish. I thought it came out really nice. So that one is going into my trencher bowl. So very happy with that one. And since I was doing some FFOing, I thought, well, I'm going to pull out, because I knew that I had finished a couple of winter pieces last year that I didn't FFO and get ready to come out for this year. So I went into my closet, and I had bought at a flea market or garage sale this box, this basket box, you can kind of see. Back, I want to say it was in October when we were up in Missouri. And boy, now that light, it is very, very overcast and hazy here today. We've got a bit of a cool front coming in, and potentially some rain tonight. So I've had to kind of pull out some extra lighting, and now it's kind of blowing that out. But maybe on this side it's a little better. There we go. So, hello winter, Plum Street samplers. I really loved stitching this. I love this design, love these colors. So what I did was I just decided to just buy some different winter foliage to what I kind of thought would match it fairly well, and threw a foam piece down into the bottom of this box and just put the pieces. What I'm gonna do is I have Hello Summer also stitched. This is just on here with magnets. So I think what I'm gonna do is I actually want to add a little piece of trim to this, but I didn't have anything that matches this color really well. So I'm gonna have to see what I can do about getting maybe some Chianti chenille, or I'm not sure, something else to I think to add to that. But this will come right off. I can pull the greenery out and add in some summery foliage and put Hello Summer. So those are the only two that I have stitched from that particular series from Palette. And they were kind of my two favorites, the Hello Winter and the Hello Summer. So anyway, so I'm very happy to have that out, and that'll be coming out here pretty quickly. And since it's almost winter time, so we'll get that going. And then I have one last thing that I had, if you guys, those who've been following me, whether it be on Instagram or on my Flosstube channel, know that I finished stitching the Cottage Garden samplings from the Songbird series, The Autumn Dream. And I took it to be framed locally. I've been very disappointed with the framing. This was the third piece, third time. I went in, and because they had called and said it's ready, and I had chosen this frame and a fillet, which is like kind of got some beading, if you'll see, to go in the center. This frame was the wrong color, and they had completely forgotten the fillet. So I immediately took a look, and I was like, well, that's not correct. And they were like, oh gosh, okay, well, we forgot the fillet, so give us a couple of days. So they called me again in about 2 or 3 days and said, okay, it's all finished. So when I went in, they had added the fillet, but when they ordered the frame, they must have completely forgotten that they were supposed to be putting the fillet in. So they didn't order the right frame size. So when I went in, the fillet was added, but literally it was on top of the stitching at the top and the bottom, and was so close. I couldn't even believe it. And I said to them, that's the true color of the linen right there. I said to them, seriously? I mean, you've put the fillet right on top of the stitching. And they actually wanted me to pay for another frame. And I said, well, I'm not paying for another frame. I said, you've misordered the size of the frame. You clearly forgot about the fillet. So anyway, they said, well, we'll have a manager call you. And so later in the afternoon, sure enough, a manager did call. And she kind of started out a little bit belligerent. And then I said, you know, if you'll look, they forgot the fillet the first time around, and then they just threw it in. I said, but it appears to me that when they ordered the frame the first time, they ordered it too small because they forgot about the spacing required for the fillet. And she looked at it again, and I heard her just kind of, you could almost hear the wheels turning, and she went, oh my goodness, you're right. And then changed her tune and was very, and then she was very nice and was like, I'm so sorry. And then she's like, well, we've already placed our frame order, because this was on a Saturday afternoon. We already placed our frame order, yesterday, so it's going to be a couple of weeks more. I was just like, you'd think that since they kind of screwed up, they could have called and maybe say, could we add to this frame order? But anyway, it's fine. It came back. I'm still not really happy with it, but at this point, I just took it. I'm probably going to take it apart and reposition it. I don't know if you can notice, but it's too far over to this way. And the girl, when she's given to me, she goes, it looks like it's off center, but that's because this sticks out And so we wanted it to be even here and even here. And, you know, I was just kind of like, does it occur to you that you center the bulk of it and these little things that stick out are just, they just stick out? I mean, it's, so anyway, it's off to one side, but, you know, I've got the frame and everything, so I can pull the paper off the back and reposition it. But at this point, I just was like, you know what, I was exhausted with it, so I just didn't even mess with it. I'm happy with the frame color. So once I get it kind of adjusted, I think it'll be great. And anyway, so that was kind of frustrating. I have 3 pieces out to total framing. I've already gotten the sneak peek of the first one back that I had sent, Friendship Sampler, and the Jenny Bean piece, and it just looks beautiful. I can't wait to get those back. You know, I think it's probably worth a little bit of extra money to send it to a place that knows exactly how to do needlework framing. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I kind of had wanted to take this local to get it done quicker because it was in the season and I wanted it up on the wall. And right now Total Framing is so busy, they're 6 to 8 weeks out on anything getting it back. So anyway, there we go. So there's all my finished pieces and my projects and things like that. So so has everybody been making plans? We're coming up to the end of the year, and I have been making some plans. I'm gonna share what my immediate plans are with you right now. This week, Thursday, I am going to be participating with, let's see, Christy from Crosshatch Quilts and Becky, Socks for Mom, a couple of other ladies from my stitching group, that my Zoom group. We meet on Tuesdays. We're all in the same guild here in the DFW area. Michelle, who's Cozy Egg, and let's see, Amy. Amy Loves Toads. And I believe there's a couple others. I think maybe Carol Saltbuck Stitchers also. We're going to be starting Hannah Tingey. Is it Hannah Tingey? Hannah Tingey? Hannah, 1823. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now I have in my gorgeous Nikki's Notables bag that I just got 3 of, actually. This is the tall bag. I kitted up Hannah with the NPI silks, and I'm going to be using 40 count straw flower from Lakeside Linen. So I'm very excited about starting that one on Thanksgiving Day. So that's in the immediate hopper. Then December 1st, and I've got everything kind of mapped out in my book, my book of days. December, I am going to have 2 new starts on December 1st, and another Nikki's Notables bag. Now this is the medium bag, so it's not quite as tall, but I absolutely love this fabric. So gorgeous. She had shown a sneak peek of it several weeks before it landed into her Etsy shop, and then when she did the Friday update, I literally set an alarm because I wanted some of these bags, and I ordered 3, and she just does such quality work. So anyway, go see Nikki at Nikki's Notables. I think she does a Friday update pretty much every Friday now. So this is going to be my December 1st start. Baby, it's cold outside, which I know a ton of people have stitched this one. I am going to be stitching this one, and this time I have my little project card. I am stitching it on Victorian Mottos Colonial Sampler 40 count. And I so far did pick a couple of subs for colors, but we'll see when I get going, you know, if I stick with those. I probably will, because I really spent some time this last Sunday going through and doing some kitting and working on my 2021 plans, and I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm thinking I'm gonna stick with that. So that's my December 1st start. Then, let's see, for, what did I do? Okay, so that one, there are basically 5 weeks in December, a day or two short on the beginning week and the ending week. But for the most part, I'm gonna follow my December 1st will be Baby It's Cold Outside. Then for the second week, I'm gonna go back to Hannah and work on her some more. So that'll give me about 2 weeks work on Hannah. Then the third week, I'm gonna go back to my Contented Mind sampler because I'm not ready to put it away. I wanna do some more. Then I have Christmas Garden, which I started last year on Christmas Day. And this is out of well, some lucky ducks might actually have the leaflet, but then the Blackbird Designs later on included it in the Home for the Holidays book. So, Christmas Garden, isn't it beautiful? And I switched from the cottons that it was called for to silks, Gloriana silks. I still have it on my frame here, as you can see, my scroll frame. I do have the border all the way around, and then I had gone back and started. Now, that gold is really a deep, deep gold. I had also ordered an Italian gold. I may switch. I have a couple of weeks to decide, but you can see the difference. It's a pretty drastic difference. But I'm kind of thinking this may be a little too orangey. I'm gonna stitch a motif with this one and see, and then I'll make up my mind. But that's kind of my next plan with Christmas Garden. If you have an opinion on that, I'd love to hear it. Let me know what you think between the two golds. I'll post a picture on Instagram too after I stitch one of the next motifs in the Italian gold, and we'll see how. I think the other one, the name of this one is Old Gold, and then that's the Italian gold. So we'll see. I have to kind of, sometimes I have to stitch something and then let it sit, and I'm kind of the same way. Well, every time we've moved, and because we've moved a lot and had different houses that we've owned, and I'm one of those people who will, when it comes to say painting and things like that, or changing a color, I have to maybe paint on the wall with several different ones and then walk past it for a month before I can really make up my mind as to what I want to have. And I'm can be sometimes the same way with my stitching. So a little bit of a nuisance, I think, but that's the way I am. My last start, which I'm also going to be stitching with Becky, Socks for Mom. She's my start buddy. If you'll recall, we just stitched together for our birthdays as at Cock's First Crow, which she just finished up and just showed on her Flosstube. If you haven't watched yet, she just loaded up a Flosstube video yesterday, Socks for Mom. She did a beautiful job. And she and I are going to be stitching Winter Rose Manor, joining in with everybody else in the cross stitch world. But we decided to hold off until December 25th. And that's going to be our Christmas Day start. Now I have pulled, and I don't have these on a ring yet. Let's see if I can show these without dumping them since they're not on a ring. But if you can get an idea, look at those colors. Aren't they beautiful? And I am going to be stitching mine on, I've got my project card done. What did I do with it? Okay, it's literally just here. Okay, talks among yourselves, because I literally just had it and now I don't. Oh gosh, I slipped it inside the book. 40 count winter white from Seraphim. Now, when you say winter white, this is not typically, I think, you know, what a lot of people think of as winter white. As you can tell, it has a bit of an overcast winter white, like an overcast gray kind of color to it. But the linen that Brenda has, in the original release of this, she used Zweigart's Dirty, and to me that's a little bit more brown than I wanted. Now for the book release, R&R Fabrics dyed a special blend for her called Brenda's Brew, or Brenda's Blend, or something like that. What is it called? Yeah, Brenda's Brew. So not readily available. They have not released it through the distributors yet. So, but I think that that kind of gray look, I think it's gonna look really nice. And when I did the floss toss, I was really happy with this color. So, Winter White by hand dyed Seraphim Fabrics, and that will be my Christmas Day start. Very anxious to start this. I said that to Beck, and she said, well, do you want to go ahead and start? I'm like, no, let's stick with our plans. We've made these plans, so let's stick with them. So trying to avoid the squirrels that just zip past and you just follow them immediately. You know, instead I want to take some inspiration maybe from the squirrel and then work it into the plan if I really love something. But sometimes you just get all excited when you first see it. And then it's kind of like the paint, right? Or a floss color, if you let it sit with you for a while, you may decide you really don't care for it. And by the time you know, if you've just taken off immediately, maybe you've spent some money or you've done something, then later you're like, what did I do that for? And then you've got a project. And anyway, so I'm trying to maybe be a little more particular about how I go about choosing my starts, work on my whips, but also kind of indulge that feeling of, you know, stitch what makes you happy as well. I do think you ought to enjoy your hobby, but I don't want my hobby to also cause me more stress. So anyway, moving right along. Okay, 2021 planning. So I planned out December. I've shown you what I'm doing for December. 2021 planning. I have my 2021 book of days. And I also have my stitching Bible. This is my notes, my journal. And what I write in my journal are this is where I keep track of all of my starts and my finishes over the years. So this actually goes back to 2013, I believe, 2014. And I've had everything listed in here. And beginning of each year, and this will say 2021, I've listed out this work. Then on the next page, I listed out where the rest of my whips came from, and that was 2019 Mania. That was my first year to participate in Mania. And then I go back as I finished, and you can see that I'll highlight, you know, in yellow when I have finished a project. And then on the pages after, so I will list January 2nd, started the 2020 plan with Thursday, and then I'll list what that particular, you know, chart was. In this particular case, on January 31st, I finished that particular design. And then I circled a number 1, first finish for the year. So then that continues on, you know, through the different pages until I get to November 7th, which was my last finish. That was the Thankful Quaker finished, and it's circled and highlighted, and that was number 17. So this kind of gives me a good feel for what I'm doing and how long it's taking me to work on certain things, and also to kind of keep track of how many starts that I'm getting. So what I did on Sunday, because that was the day I was kind of really, Sunday afternoon, I was kind of planning and working on some stuff and digging through fabric and digging through floss, which is always a lot of fun, right? And then I thought, all right, let's get out my book and see where I stand. Mania 2020, this is all I added. I did not add a tremendous amount because I wanted to finish some of those things, and you saw that I had 7 finishes. In this case, I actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had started 8 new things for Mania, and I have finished 2 of those. So I'm only carrying forward 6. And then 2020 new starts, I listed here. So these were all new starts that were not, part of Mania or anything. They just were new starts that I did. And then the date that I started them here. So sometimes that's the other good thing is when I need a little bit of maybe some reining in, I can go back and look at this and be like, wow, I've got a lot of whips. I don't need to be adding a ton more, right? Oh, sorry, I hope that truck noise isn't. Today's trash day in our neighborhood, so trash truck is headed right in front of the house. So anyway, grabbed my book, looked through, and sometimes it's good to kind of look at that too, because you're like, you know what, why haven't I finished that? So I just got out a piece of, paper and started listing out whips that I'm going to be carrying forward and that I want to focus on. And then I've got some new starts because I have some things that are already kitted. I have some plans in mind. For instance, I finished that Plum Street Samplers, A New Constellation. Started it on Memorial Day, finished it by Labor Day. My plan this year is to do the same thing with the Heritage Sampler. Probably will start it on Memorial Day and hope to finish it by Labor Day. And then there's the third one coming out that I want to do the same thing with. And I have a Constellation is out at Total Framing for framing. And when I talked to Terry, I asked her, I said, let's please make sure that the frame that we choose will be from a company that plans to keep those frames in stock, because the frame that Paulette had chosen for the model, that company actually discontinued those frames in September. So I was a little bit bummed about that, but we picked out another one that I really love too. But I told her it's going to take me a minute to get these others stitched, and so I didn't want that to happen again, because it's my intention to actually hang all 3 together, and I will likely keep those hanging all year round. So I've got a couple. Manor at Peacock Hill will be a new start, and that's going to be a January start. And Let Freedom Ring from Lila Studios is going to be my January 1st start, along with Pam Schaffner from Just Keep Stitching. And so I've got a couple of things where I'm putting it on paper first before I start to plan it all out in my book. I've listed my January 1st start. I'm sticking with my Blackbird Designs Halloween Eve for Dark October stitching on the 13th. And Walter, I've got to work on Walter, which is, Ann Thomas. And he's my Walter Wednesday that I do with Beck. And so that's how I'm kind of putting together my plans. We'll see how it goes, right? But I like kitting. I like that planning. I like digging through my floss, and I like digging through my fabrics and putting things together. and kind of making that plan. So I'm enjoying this time. So I'm working on that. Okay, so I've got a couple of things that I'll show you. Just a little bit of stash enhancement, not much. One is actually standing in, we have Kroger's grocery store here in North Texas. And I'm standing in the line. Of course, you know, you're 6 feet away carts wise. And so you're standing there for a little bit and stand there. And I'm just perusing. And I saw this. Primitive Quilts and Projects. And I was like, ooh, I really like the look of this. And it has some really cool patterns and things. Like, look at this for primitive rug hooking, which I do have a frame and some wool, and it's got applique. It's got some really, look at this. This is just really sweet. Isn't that neat? Love that. So anyway, I reached over and grabbed it. You know, it's $9.99. So I'm gonna dig through that. I just got that this week when I was at the grocery store. And then I had gotten this one in from the Country Sampler in Spring Green. The Mary Argent Sampler. Isn't that beautiful? And I got their kit. And look at that. Look at those colors. I could just look at those colors all day. Love them, love them, love them. Really beautiful. And it's on 40 count straw. So I think when you look at the front, and then you look at those colors, you see much more color in the palette. So when I saw that, it made me more excited to stitch it because I think it's gonna look a lot more vibrant than what you're seeing on the front of here. But anyway, so this is probably also gonna work into my plans. We'll see. I'm not sure when I'm gonna start it, but I have it on my radar, as we like to say. So that is all of the small amount of stash enhancement that I have. I'm just kind of looking. You know, you start these things, I got stuff all around. If you guys could see this, you'd be laughing. If you need some stash enhancement, I did have a quick break that I took this last week to be able to take a couple days off. I closed the shop on Tuesday evening and was able to get the backlog of orders. Our order volume is through the roof again. I'm not sure if everybody's been, you know, maybe concerned about lockdown. And so they're ordering all their supplies, you know, getting ready to like hibernate for the winter, right? And so I was able to get the rest of the backlog out by Saturday, which then gave me Saturday afternoon and Sunday and yesterday to get some things done. And I cleaned out our pantry and just redid some things. Sunday afternoon, as I mentioned, I spent in my craft room just digging through stuff, and it was just really nice. I needed the break. I hadn't had a break for a while. So I also decided to plan a sale. So there are some sale items in the shop if you were interested in your own little stash enhancement. I reopened last evening, and of course this week, you know, there'll be no shipping on Thursday, which is, you know, Thanksgiving. But after that, I will be open until probably about the 14th of December. Depends upon how many orders and things are, how long it'll take me to get everything out the door. If you'll recall, if you've watched me, I talked about the fact that I had to have a biopsy for a spot on my nose, and it did come back positive for basal cell carcinoma. So on the 17th of December, I'm going to be going in, and I will meet with and have two different surgeons. The first will be the Mohs surgeon, who will go in to remove all of the cancer. And then when he's finished and they are sure that they've gotten it all I will then in the afternoon, they work out of the same office, they kind of tag team. I will be working with the plastic surgeon, and he will do the repair. So I will be out of commission for a few days with that procedure. Right now, they think that it's probably not huge. I hope so. Unfortunately, I went through this with my mom about 3 years ago, where she had like a little sore that wasn't healing on the side of her nose, and the tumor ended up being about 2.5 inches long. So they ended up having to go up here, go all the way down, create a skin flap, flip it, do the repair on the top of her nose, and it went all the way down to here. So we'll see. But that's kind of the plan. So right now, I'm hoping to be open through about the 14th, and then I will probably, be closed for, I'd say, at least a week. We'll see how it goes, right? Anyway, so there's that about the shop. Now let's get to the goodies. Unfortunately, I did not hear from my winner from last week. That was Linda Jane M. She had won the 3 charts by using the word snowstorm. I'm going to comment again, and if I haven't heard from Linda by the time I do my next Flosstube, which will hopefully be right before I have to close the shop, I will draw again. So Linda, if you're out there and you're watching, please email me. You'll find my email address in the description box below, and I'll send you your charts that you won. So let's look to see who won last time's giveaways. If you'll remember, I had 2 because we were celebrating 2 wonderful holidays this month, Veterans Day on the 11th and Thanksgiving, which is this coming up in 2 days. So we had the Heartstring Samplery Some Gave All kit and the Autumn Bouquet, really lovely sampler. And the winner of the first one, Veterans Day, was Nancy Barris. I hope I'm saying that last name correct. It's B-A-R-E-I-S-S, Nancy Barris. Put it in here. Congratulations, Nancy. Please email me to my contact information in the description box with your mailing address, and I will send that right out to you. And the winner of Thankful was Cheryl March. Cheryl March. Put it in here. And Cheryl, if you will also email me with your mailing address, I will mail that right out to you. And congratulations, ladies. There were some very nice comments. A lot of people who either have a person in the armed services or who had a parent or someone, a beloved someone that is a veteran. And we're all very thankful for our veterans. My grandfather was in the Navy. I've got cousins who were in the Marines. So we're all very thankful for what they have done to give us our freedoms. So congratulations. Thank you so much for participating in that. I do have, as I had said earlier, and I'm going to move along because I'm getting to be at 45 minutes, a new giveaway. And I've been talking a lot about plans. So I'm going to give away a cross-stitch journal from It's So Emma Stitchery. And this thing is great for planning your specific projects. This is a really nice book. that you can, it even has your time tracker. If you're one of those people who counts your stitches or counts the time that you put in on each project. And you've got 50 project sheets in here. You've also got some thread inventory sheets. It's a really handy dandy little book, so I'm giving away that. And because we're coming up on what everybody considers the most wonderful time of the year, I'm giving away the wonderful time of the year to go along. So it's a great time of year to do your planning and stitch a chart. So tell me what your plans are. I'm going to search by the word plans. You got to hear a little bit of my plans and my process. I would love to be able to read through and hear how you do your planning. I think it's always very interesting. You know, some people do spreadsheets, some people lay things out in the middle of the floor and you know, work on all their stuff. I just love this time of the year with the planning process. So if you're interested in winning these, please don't say giveaway, freebie, any of those types of things. I want to make sure that these two things go to a stitcher or a crafter, someone who will actually use them for their intended purpose. At least be 18, you know, follow all the rules, please. And then in your comment, use the word plans, and I will do a drawing and send that right out to you. I think we've covered everything. Thank you so much. If you've been watching, if you've commented, I did have a couple of questions. I did go back and answer those, and I believe that each of those people responded back to me that they had received their answer. But thank you so much for your comments, your questions, participating. I love reading everything. I'm very grateful and thankful to each of you who indulge me and let me share some of my hobby and what inspires me with you, and I hope that you find something inspirational as well. Happy Thanksgiving, and remember, create every day. Take care now. Bye-bye.